I want to thank you guys for joining me again for another segment of Corona Chronicles Live. I am really excited to have my next guest. Manny is here. We were able to actually meet for the first time a couple minutes before this broadcast, but I found out about him through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce event that they had. And just another testament of reaching out to people. I was able to catch a little bit about what he was talking about, but it was about the small businesses. The whole premise was ways that we could pivot and move ahead. And as we approach the end of 2020, we need to all look for positivity for 2021. So I was really excited to just reach out to him and have him share some of his insights here with the audience because Lord knows we need a lot more positivity as we move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
So at this time, I'm going to give Manny the opportunity to say a little bit about himself before we get into the interview.
No, thanks for having me. So my name is Manny Cosme. I'm the president and CEO of CFO Services Group, and we are a management accounting firm, which means that we focus on bookkeeping and financial strategy for small businesses and nonprofits that are looking to grow. So that's what we do day in, day out. Obviously, during this time, we've been hyper-focused on getting people the small businesses help through the PPP program. So doing all of that, and then really just thinking strategically about their business and how to pivot and how to grow during this pandemic. So not just survive, but really thrive during this and really use this as a launch pad to bring your business to the next level.
I love that. Now, yes. So the first thing I would ask is how you got connected with this Chamber of Commerce event. Because a lot of people, they're like, oh, things aren't in person anymore. And that was quite a platform to be able to speak on. So how did that even come about?
Yeah, great. So I've always just sort of, we've always kept each other on our radars. I actually used to work at the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So once a long time ago, I was the CFO over there for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is, the national chamber. So when I was there, and this was many, many years ago, I had started to form some connections with people at the chambers. And so as I launched my own business, I just sort of always kept those contacts warm, but also happened to be in DC, literally a few blocks down the street. So, as you start to build your street credibility, so to speak, in the area, people start looking and kind of, oh, you have something interesting to say. Maybe you can help out our members and whatnot. So, yeah, we've actually done a few things together over the years. So I've done a few workshops and whatnot for them. So, yeah, that's how it came to be. It's in the importance of networking. I will say it's always very important that, as you said, reach out to people, and you never know who can be a contact to you, who you can network with, who can lead you to other things. Very important. So that's something that I definitely do as well. So I'm glad you said that.
I love that. And then, the positivity, in this space where people are watching the news, they hear about, numbers going down with, economics or, in certain business genres and things of that nature. What are most people doing wrong when it comes to their mindset about these things that are happening? Because you obviously have really been thriving during this time. So what are some things that we're doing wrong?
Yeah, great question. I think the number one thing is allowing your fear and your panic and your anxiety to take hold. Like, that's the number one thing. I can tell you that when news of this broke and we got our issues to lock down, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, this is a real thing that's happening. I did have a moment of panic. I for a second was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my clients? What's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen to the community? And then I had to stop myself and say, okay, let me take a deep breath. Where's the opportunity in this? Because there is always an opportunity in any situation. And in fact, I love the quote or the saying that basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but more millionaires were made during the Great Depression than any time in history, really.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is because during any downturn, and especially during an economic crisis, so many opportunities arise because that's when people need the most help. Other people need help. And so if you can position yourself to help people, then you can actually spring forward during that time. And that's really what it's all about. So, for us, it was, where's the opportunity to help people during this time, and then use that to further our growth as well. And so, and there's a lot of ways, and it's not always a direct path. We ended up helping a lot of businesses. We helped, hundreds of businesses probably apply for the PPP loan. And we didn't charge anything for that. We did that all pro bono. So we spent a lot of our own resources helping businesses. But as a result of that, we built our name and brand, US Chamber, things like that. And we were able to grow in other ways as a result of that. So, it's really just taking that moment to not let the fear and panic get to you, take a deep breath and then look for, where's the opportunity here.
I love that. And I love how you mentioned, building your brand during this time, because talk to somebody who's watching and they are like doing things for free, but the way that you were able to leverage those pro bono opportunities with people. So for somebody who is like, oh, I just want to do something, talk to us about the importance of leveraging when it comes to doing those pro bono type things.
Yeah. And, we do a lot of pro bono stuff. We do a lot of stuff for free to help people, because it's really about, when you think about a business, you have to think about, okay, why am I in business? And, you have a personal financial gain, but you also have a personal, thing that you want to fulfill, but it also impacts the community. And so when you go into business, you have to think about all the ways that this is going to impact your life and the other people around you, their lives, which includes your community. And so when you go into business, when we look to grow our business, I'm always looking at, I want to help as many people as possible. Now, there are limits to what I can do, because I don't want to go broke doing it, but there's a lot that I can do, right? there's a lot that I can do that really doesn't cost me a lot, that can help others. And here's the thing, the more I can help other businesses in the community grow, then they will be in a position eventually to need my higher level services, because that's just, you do. At some point, I do accounting, we do bookkeeping, right? At some point, you need to hire a bookkeeper. At some point, you're going to need to bring on a CFO. So my philosophy is that if I can at least help you get from zero to that point, then from that point, now you're going to hire me. And so it becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, I don't look at it as I'm spending money, I'm wasting resources. It's I'm helping my community grow to the level where they need me to help them grow even more. And then it becomes a win-win for everyone. And that's really what it's all about. I think the best business people out there recognize the win-win in every situation.
I love that. And then, one of the things I was thinking, because you said you were with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ideas that people who maybe they are English speaking, but ways that they can collaborate with the Hispanic community?
Yeah, the Hispanic, obviously, Hispanic small businesses are growing like crazy. It's a huge market. So we would get that all the time at the Hispanic Chamber. That's why it's a pretty powerful chamber of commerce. There are constantly, Fortune 500s, government agencies and whatnot, who really want to tap into the Hispanic business market for a lot of reasons. One, the Hispanic community, of course, itself is growing, but also recognizing that for procurement needs. So if you're a large business, like let's say, a Fortune 500, actually an interesting example was 7-Eleven. I never forget this. 7-Eleven,
Okay.
yeah, 7-Eleven, Fortune 500 company, obviously, was looking to expand their number of franchisees. And so, but they recognized that they didn't really have a lot of Hispanic owned franchises out there. So they ended up coming, and this is, of course, many, many years ago. They ended up coming to the chamber to say, look, we want to expand our Hispanic franchisee owners because we really want to place more franchises in these particular areas. Like, for example, the Rio Grande Valley and Texas and whatnot, it's predominantly Hispanic. But, we're having trouble tapping this market. Can you help us? And so what we did was we created a program collectively with them to help get Hispanic people to purchase 7-Eleven franchises. And as a result, we created a whole bunch of new Hispanic business owners as a result. And so that became a real win-win-win for everyone. We're able to grow Hispanic business base, help these people get their own businesses, find financial freedom through that, help 7-Eleven grow their brand. So it was really great, opportunity. So there's always stuff like that happening.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really great. And, I will also say, there is also something to be said for having diversity within, the economy and certainly within the business place, because, someone of your descent may have a different mindset than someone of my descent. We may have different ideas, different things that we contribute, and we think about things differently. And so really bringing all that together is so important in growing the economy in general, having diverse ideas where we can come together and really think through problems creatively is so, so important.
Yeah, and that question just came to mind because a lot of times if you are English speaking, you kind of have this tunnel vision, and something as simple as translating some copy or something that you have into another language can totally open up another market for you without you really having to go through a lot of expense, but just being able to have someone who could translate or, build that side of your business until you can move forward in a larger scale. So
yeah,
that was
being with familiar. I like you like to be with familiar people, and you feel comfortable, and familiar and whatnot. So very, very yeah,
absolutely. Now, so what do you do in your daily routine to keep you well balanced and just in this space of being able to see opportunity, and not having that fear take over?
Yeah, great question again. So I do yoga every morning. I actually start my day off doing a yoga routine. I meditate once a day. I listen to a lot of mindset stuff. So there's a few mindset coaches that I follow, which is very important when you run a business, especially to really just slip into that moment, especially when you run a business. There's so many things that are thrown at you on a daily basis. And it's very easy to get caught up in all the craziness, especially because I'm in Washington, D.C. So if you can imagine right now, D.C. is a very interesting place to be. A lot of stuff going on here. So really just finding your grounding is so super important to just, sit in there. And especially, again, even with a growing business, it sort of starts taking off on its own. And I have a team of people now that I'm managing. I have managers who manage others, right? So it's really kind of, if something's not right, being able to kind of take a step back, not get frustrated and say, okay, something's not right. This isn't working. Why isn't it working? Let's kind of chat about it and find the root of this, fix that, and then move forward. So staying grounded is so important to be able to see that truth, if you will, and not get caught up in the anxiety and the emotions of everything. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. I also work out every day, go to the gym. That to me is also a huge choice. So I do a lot of physical stuff because
that's good.
To me, yeah, it really does. It helps me to just stay, it helps calm my anxiety, if you will. So yeah. Yeah.
Now, so for your staff, is everybody remote? Do you guys still meet in person? What is that looking like?
Yeah, we're remote. So we've actually been remote since 2018, interestingly. So we were way ahead of this. We started the trend, as I like to say. No, no, I used to have an office in downtown, and obviously it's very expensive. And as my team grew, I was like, you know what? I just want everyone to work remote. And so, it took a while to find our, our groove in that. But
Mhm.
luckily we did, and then all this happened. So I was really glad we did that. But it did take a little bit of time. But yeah, we're
I
all
love that.
good. Yeah. No, we all are in the DC area. So we're
Right.
in, within 30 miles of DC Center, everyone lives, which is helpful because we're still able to do stuff in person. We're still able to do like events and like activities and whatnot together in person. But yeah, everyone works from home though on a daily basis.
I love that. And then, so what tips would you give businesses who have tried to go through this transition of having remote staff? What are maybe three things that they could do to kind of keep that cohesion and keep the business moving forward?
Communicate, communicate, communicate. That is absolutely in any relationship, no matter
Yes.
what type of relationship it is.
Kids, right. Okay.
Communication is absolutely the key. So yes, we definitely communicate a lot. We have a daily huddle. So every morning at 10 a.m., all of us get online. Well, now we split into clusters, but everyone gets online and does a huddle. So and during that huddle, we say four very important things. It's what was my win from yesterday? So it helps get everyone in the mindset of winning, right? So what did I do well yesterday? What was my win? What is my top priority for today? And that helps everyone kind of set their intention for the day. What's the one thing I need to get done?
Mhm.
Um, am I stuck on anything, or do I have any challenges for today that I may need someone's help on? So that fosters the communication like, hey, so and so, I need your help on this.
Mhm.
And then we say something personal. So something personal about ourselves
Mhm.
that happened yesterday or something. And that really helps to keep everyone friendly and connected on a personal level, rather than just being all business. And so, I will tell you that sometimes our huddles take 45 minutes because everyone just ends up talking about their personal self so much. And it really helps to foster that team spirit. And so,
Mm.
so I would say if I recommend anything is if you're working remote at this time, definitely institute a daily huddle. Now we've grown, so our huddles are done in clusters, but still on Fridays, everyone gets together. So we do a giant huddle on
Wow.
Friday. So everyone in the team gets together and helps. So yeah, so that's very
That is
helpful.
awesome. And so, and this is a daily thing. I love that.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Now, so did you have a period where it was before this huddle that you did every day to see what the difference was?
No, it was one thing I implemented right away. Actually, as I thought about going remote, I did a lot of research to kind of figure out before I pulled the trigger. How is this going to work? And that was one thing that came up, and it was recommended. And so I thought, oh, that's interesting. So literally from day one, I kind of started that, and I've never looked back. It is probably the best thing I did to really help foster that communication
I
among.
love that.
Yeah, so that's very good. And yeah, and so I would say that. And then what we do is once a quarter we do all get together and do a
Mhm.
fun activity together. So that kind of paused obviously
Mhm.
this year.
Yeah.
We did finally were able to get back together last month. We did a little something at a like a it was like a pumpkin patch thing.
Oh,
um
yeah.
Everyone was distant and whatnot, so it kind of worked out well,
Mhm.
because I was anxious to get back to that. But that was also something that helped to keep the team really motivated together, was doing a team activity once a quarter. So yeah, that was a lot of
I
fun.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's wonderful. So these have been some great tips. And so as we kind of come to a close, what is your vision or some goals that you would share for your own company as we move into 2021? Because a lot of people are kind of like, oh, I just can't wait for 2020 to be over. And, I always say you have to have some goals, to move forward, or you're just going to end up with anything. And, you can't complain about it because you weren't planning for anything else. So, what would be some things that you have in the future for 2021
You're
that
talking
you want
about
to work
me personally, like my company
or
personally?
your company? Yeah, either one, whatever you feel led to share.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a big believer that you should probably come out with a new product or service once a year. It's very helpful. The companies that grow the biggest and survive the longest and whatnot, one of the things I've noticed that they do is they have a diverse product or service offering. So they don't just do one thing. They tend to kind of do several things, and that's very important. And I've been talking a lot about this recently in light of this pandemic, is because if you only sell one thing to one market and something happens to that market, then you're out of luck. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of businesses landed when all of a sudden they had to shut down and they couldn't provide their services in person, or they couldn't provide to the customer base because the customer base stopped buying. So it was the opportune moment to really get back on my soapbox and talk about diversifying revenue. And so to help foster that, I try to really come up with a new product or service once a year to just really start help diversifying, your revenue, so that if something happens, you're able to quickly pivot, And so, like for us, if we had just stuck with straight up bookkeeping work, for example, we probably would have been in a world of hurt. But because we have diverse products and services that we can offer, and a mix of products and services, by the way, we're able to just kind of pick up one of the other channels that people needed right now and start selling that. So we didn't end up hurt. In fact, we ended up growing as a result of it. So very important for a business to do. Yeah.
Now, so when you say for them to diversify, do you give them certain tips or, things they should focus on? So let's say I'm a coach and I go into writing for a magazine or having another product that's a part of coaching. What type of guidance do you give them when it comes to that diversifying?
Yeah. So there's when you think about diversifying revenue, there's three main ways that you want to think about it. It's what I sell, who I sell it to, and how I deliver it. So the more you can diversify along those three channels, then the better off you'll be, the stronger you'll be as a business. Now, granted, as long as you really build up each of them and you don't go crazy and start doing a bunch of stuff you can't handle, but so do it slowly. You slowly roll it out. But there's oftentimes some things that you're doing that you don't realize you can very easily turn into a whole nother product or service by just tweaking a small little thing. And then all of a sudden you have a whole new market. So like for you, example, with coaching, you're out there, you're coaching, giving advice and whatnot. Maybe you easily turn that into a blog, and then maybe you can monetize your blog, right? Maybe you're not even monetizing it. Maybe you're just throwing it out there, but it does become another service channel or product channel that you can offer. Maybe then you turn, and instead of just writing a blog, you turn around and record yourself reading the blog and put some graphics behind that, which is very, very easy to do. And all of a sudden now you have an e-course that you can sell, and you can sell that for maybe $10 or something, right? You've created a new product out of that. And so it's something so easy and so simple to do, but so important for you to do. So that's what I say, is really think about those three channels. And all you have to do is take what you currently do, change one of the three. So take something that you do and change either, what I do, who I sell it to, or how I deliver it. Change just one of those three, and all of a sudden you have a whole new thing that you can sell. And you'd be surprised at how quickly you can grow.
I love that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's awesome. Well, these have been some great tips. So I hope everybody has been taking notes, because, you can never get enough education. However, I will challenge everybody not just to take notes, but take action, right?
Exactly. You have to take action. And, that's what we're here for as a CFO, really that's what a CFO is here to do, is to be your financial coach, basically, if you will. So help you think strategically about your business's finances and really help you grow. So, it's not just like a general business coach. You need several different coaches. And one of those coaches definitely needs to be a financial coach to help you kind of sit back, recognize what your financial situation looks like, and set your financial goals, and then help you figure out what financial resources you need to hit those financial goals. Like, that is so super important in a business. And every business has a CFO. And typically 90% of the time, it's the business owner is the CFO. So having an outside CFO can be very helpful.
So true. And, because so many times people make purchases that they really haven't really got the bandwidth for at the time. You're starting off a new business, so you go get some insight from somebody who's already in that field.
Yep.
And they're telling you about what they're doing, but they have, I don't know how many customers, and you haven't even got like 10. You see what I'm saying? So what are some of the mistakes that people make when it comes to starting out with the finances?
So I would say, a lot of what we do is help set up financial projections. That's sort of like if we take on a new client, a new CFO client, the very first thing that we do with every single client is we have them create their financial projections. What that does is that sets the intention and the roadmap for the business, right? It's, here I am today, and this is where I want to be a year from now, maybe even 2 years from now. That process of thinking through that is absolutely critical to the success of your business. And in fact, I would go as much as to say that is really what makes or breaks the business. Because if you don't have, again, mindset, if you don't have a clear destination in mind of where you want to go, then when things start to happen in your business, you're just going to start going everywhere, and you're never really going to get to where you want to be. So I would say that is absolutely number one, is when you're creating a business, you need to constantly update your financial projections. But certainly when you start a business, you absolutely need to do that. And it doesn't mean it's set in stone. Don't be afraid. You can change it, right? You can change it at any time, but at least put something down so you start to have an understanding as to where you want to go. That also clues you in on what resources you need. And that's the other reason why small businesses fail, is that all of a sudden, you're like driving down the road, right? I'm driving from New York to San Francisco, and guess what? I forgot to put enough gas in the car because I did not think about the resources I needed to actually get all the way there. That's what happens with businesses. You start going, and all of a sudden realize, I ran out of money. Well, you didn't think about where you wanted to go and how much money you would need, so that we could have planned that at the beginning and helped you get a loan or a line of credit, so that it would have put money into the business right when you needed it to keep you going to your destination, right? So, that's super important. And also, finally, making sure that your business's finances match your personal finances. That's another huge mistake, I think, because you have this sort of goal for your business, but as a small business owner, you need to understand that your business's finances need to also pay you as a person. Right? You cannot divorce your business's finances from your personal finances. And so really setting the intention of understanding, what do I need personally from my business, and then making sure that your business matches your personal financial goals. Super important. Otherwise, you're going to lose the motivation to grow your business. When the going is tough, you're going to bail and go find a job that pays you a certain amount, instead of realizing and sticking through your business to get you there. So those are like the three main, things that I see.
That's good. Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with that. And so for people who, they have that mindset that, hey, this business is going to, be my security. It's going to, net me 6 figures or whatever when they start out. What is a good percentage that they should really realistically be looking at goes towards their salary and, outside of their business expenses, for somebody? to
Yeah,
kind of
well,
gauge?
well, usually in the beginning of the business, I mean, well, so once you pay your expenses, all of it should probably be going to you, maybe save a little bit in there. But again, that's where it's a hard question to answer because every business is different and the intention of every business is different. So again, that's where it becomes very clear. If you want to, why are you in business? Are you in business because you just basically want to pay yourself a nice salary? Well, you're going to think differently about investing your money back in the business. Maybe you don't really want to invest your money back in the business, right? Maybe you just want to take it. But if you want to grow a business, like when I started this business, I was very intentional that I wanted to grow a large business beyond me, right? I wanted a staff, I wanted a name brand. And so when I started making money, and I still to this day invest a lot of money back into my business because I'm fueling its growth. But that is not what everyone wants. It's hard to grow a business. It is very difficult. It is not for everyone. Hey, I could very easily be making $300,000-$400,000, taking all the money for myself and not worried about it instead of putting it all back into the business, right? So it depends on what you want. That's how you answer that question. You got to meet with your CFO to figure out what you need out of your business and then set that plan accordingly. So
I love that. And
non-answer.
I love that. And hey, these are some good questions, guys. So if y'all are listening and you have this question, call Manny because he can help you. This is one of the things that a lot of times we don't think about. And later on, we're wondering why am I unfulfilled? Or why is this not going the way I thought it was? So much just back to the basic building blocks of the foundation, which is the fuel that you need to move forward with your income. So I really think that was a great way to answer that. And a great way for people to call you. Okay.
Yeah,
they need to call you. They want So this is awesome. So what's the best way for everybody to get a hold of you?
Website, cfoservicesgroup.com. That's CFO services, that's plural, servicesgroup.com. Just hop on there. There's a chat thing, there's an email thing. So it's the best way to reach us. You can call, same thing.
Awesome. And any closing words that you want to share with everybody?
If you are running a business out there, don't get discouraged. Just know that there are resources that will help you, especially during this time. Don't panic. Look for the opportunity. Take a deep breath, find the opportunity, and then find people that will help you think through how to make that opportunity a reality.
Love that. Great words. So I hope you guys were taking notes. If not, you can always go back and watch the replay. And if this information resonated with you or somebody share it. That's all it is, just to share. It doesn't cost anything. Exactly. Right now, we need to recognize we're all in this together. We need to help each other be better versions of ourselves. That's emotionally, mentally, and financially in this case. So we want to thank you again, Manny, for your words of wisdom and insight. And we probably be having you come back on again as we get into 2021 so we can make sure that we're keeping our finances in order.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So thank you guys again for watching this episode, and we will see you guys the next time. Have a great afternoon.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.